here with winterizing the freshwater system on your boat or RV is to get all the fresh liquid out. This way it doesn't freeze, expand, cause damage. No boat manufacturer is going to warranty any product or RV manufacturer from freeze damage. A couple of things to talk about and be aware of. It's a good idea to attack the black water system first. You can take some of our 3-in-1 product, drop that down the toilet, let it dissolve. That'll help clean out any sanitation system that you have, help break up any debris that could be inside the tank, and then you want to get pumped out. While you're pumping out, it's a good idea to continuously flush the sanitation system 2-3 times, get all the debris out of there for the winter, okay? Don't forget too, you're gonna have to do your overboard discharge pump if you're in a marine application. The main product used when winterizing a freshwater system is the pink RV antifreeze. This here is actually the -50. And something I recently learned, -50 is the freeze solid point. We have a customer all the way up north near Niagara Falls, a marina, and they winterize with compressed air because -50 is the freeze solid point. This will actually start to crystallize at a much higher temperature than that. -50, or maybe you use -100 depending on where you're located geographically. If you do use compressed air, there's something to be aware of with the pedal operated toilets. So this is the water valve, and there's a little air gap in here, okay? So we'll show you later on with the antifreeze. You're gonna wanna depress the pedal multiple times. You really wanna dilute the water in here. Try and get it to mix around and get all the water out. If you're utilizing compressed air, I recommend pulling the water valve off and then turning it sideways, getting all the air out, shaking it out. Previous versions of the water valve, there was a serviceable cap on the bottom. That's no longer there. This is chemically glued or welded on, and it's not serviceable. Another product you can actually use, vodka or homemade moonshine. Just need to be cautious about harming rubber product, but some people will use that. It does sanitize the system, and it's definitely not gonna freeze. So we have the pleasure of being on a 42-foot Ocean Alexander. This boat we think is gonna use somewhere between 10 and 15 gallons of antifreeze. It's a twin head layout, 1 shower, galley sink, 2 head sinks, so that's a good benchmark to use. One thing we like to go over is with our pedal operated Vacuflush toilets. All right, there's a little air gap in here. So when we go and show you the Vacuflush toilet, you're gonna wanna make sure you step on the pedal a couple of times, depressing it, turning it upside down, and really ensuring you get all the water out. This is the electronic water valve that's on some of our macerating and Vacuflush toilets. So if you push a button or push a lever to flush, this is maybe not exactly, but pretty similar to what you'll find behind your toilet. The air gap issue is not as prevalent as the pedal operated, but that's what you'll find. You're gonna wanna get yourself a nice pair of safety glasses, some gloves, rags, things of that nature. First step we're gonna do, you're gonna wanna drain the fresh water tanks. We personally like to bypass the hot water heaters. I recommend getting the manual out for your specific model, following the instructions from the manufacturer. I don't want to guide you and void your warranty or cause some kind of issues, but that's how we do it. First thing we're gonna do is go pull the plugs on fresh water tanks, drain all the water out, start loading it up with antifreeze, okay? We made a nice little bucket. We'll show you guys that. Pretty neat boat. There's actually a water purifier, which we'll show you guys how to winterize that. Good little thing to remember, the windshield washer. On boats, we don't use regular windshield washer fluid. We usually wash with fresh water, so that's something we'll have to address. Stay tuned, we're gonna get going. Doesn't really matter the steps you take, but before you pump any antifreeze through the system, you're gonna wanna make sure that you remove the water filter cartridges or purification cartridges. This boat is equipped with General Ecology's Nature Pure QC2 system. Okay, So very cool design. You actually don't even need to shut the water pressure off. You go over, you unthread the cartridge. You're gonna wanna get a little towel handy. Sometimes there's a drip of water, but you unthread the cartridge, and when you do that, a pin drops down inside of here, shuts the flow of water off. The nice thing about General Ecology, their cartridges won't support the growth of bacteria. You can actually use them from one season to the next. The most important thing is they cannot freeze. If it freezes, it will ruin this media inside of here, or the purification cartridge that's inside of here, and it will not work properly. What I like to do is drain it, bring it home, keep it inside somewhere that doesn't freeze with your boat gear. But we have plenty of other information about that. So we put this aside, and then there's no cartridge in there, so they came up with this great idea. There's actually a little winterizing plug here, but that winterizing plug will drive the pin that dropped down and shut the flow of water off, up, and that'll allow you to winterize the system in the fall and then sanitize it in the spring. So, pretty cool system. So, every boat is a little different with how to drain the tanks. Some people will literally just go to the faucet, turn the pump on, let all the water come through there. This particular boat is equipped with 2 freshwater tanks. They actually have drains, which is really nice. So on this boat here, we're gonna pull the drain plug. There's not much left. Hopefully I don't get soaked, but that's why we're wearing PPE. So there is no right or wrong way to do this, really, first or last step. Just want to make sure you remove any filtration cartridges. Quick little pro tip here: if you take an empty gallon of antifreeze, cut yourself a little hole. It allows you, when you go to purge the fresh water out, to capture the antifreeze and water. This way you don't make a mess. So we have our hot water bypassed. All right, we're gonna let this run until we see the pink antifreeze. You could use a 5-gallon bucket for this, but this works well too. Starting to get a little bit of color. That's all we need to do. Hot should be empty. We don't want to overfill. We have our bucket here. It's non-toxic, so you can just pop it overboard. We'll head inside now. So on our water purifier, gonna do the same thing. I like to crack the valve very slowly. There could be some air and pressure built up in here, and we don't want to make a mess all over a beautiful boat or RV. See pink, maybe give it a 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. All right, that'll also get down, do any P traps that might be there, or perhaps you have a shower Sani sump product like that. Okay, gonna go to the head now. So when it comes to winterizing the sanitation system on your boat or RV, I usually recommend grabbing a product like the Medix 3-in-1. Okay, this is great to do about a week before. You pop it in the bowl. It's a really nice rapid dissolving packet, so it's pre-dosed, very convenient, has a really nice fragrance. I am going to lift up on the pedal, put some additional water in here. After a few seconds, about a minute or so, that's gonna dissolve. It's a 3-in-1, so it's a bowl cleaner, sanitation system cleaner, and deodorant all in one. Has a really nice enzymatic effect. It effervesces. Scrub the bowl with that. You can use a toilet brush. I actually prefer there are a couple of silicone toilet brushes. That's not going to damage the bowl seal. If you have a macerating system or a gravity system, that's not a concern for you. Clean the bowl, flush it down, and then you're going to want to get the tank pumped out, okay? Or go for a joyride, go out 3 miles. Make sure you get some good antifreeze through that overboard discharge pump as well. A couple ways to do that. 1, go offshore or anywhere it's legal. Or when they haul the boat out, just make sure you have a couple of gallons of antifreeze in the black water holding tank. And then you can go put a bucket underneath your through-hole fitting, turn the discharge pump on, capture that, flush it down a sanitation system in a home or at the marina, use the pump out station to collect that. Just want to make sure you're in compliance with getting rid of the wastewater. So we've put our 3-in-1 in the bowl, it's dissolved, we brushed it around. Couple options here. You could just flush it, let the pump regenerate, or if you really want to clean the system out good, I would flush this down, let the pump cycle 2-3 times, and cut the power off. Leave the treatment inside the hoses and the vacuum pump overnight. Some people even do a treatment like this, flush, let the pump run a couple of cycles, 3-4 times, and then shut the power, put another treatment in the bowl with the power of the vacuum generator off, flush that second treatment down. This way everything sits in all the lines. That helps take care of odors and reduce buildup of uric and mineral acids inside the hoses. Pretty nice trick, but we need to have the time for that. And we'll flush that down. You feel free to keep that pedal down for a few seconds. That'll really treat the inside of the vacuum generator. And that's the toilet. Don't forget, we got to do the faucet, both hot and cold. Give that a few moments. Start to see some pink. Now when you swap over to the opposite feed, you're gonna see pink right away because it's still in the hoses. So make sure you get a good 1 or 2 Mississippi of good quality antifreeze. Again too, if you have a P-trap, a shower sump, a Sani sump inside your bilge, we need to make sure we get a good amount of antifreeze in there as well. Now we're gonna move on to the next one. So on this particular model, it has a thermostatic mixing valve. Just make sure you go full cold and full hot. All right. Again, a 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, and then I'll turn the thermostatic mixing valve. Give that a few seconds, and we're good. Let that drip. All right, we're gonna move on to the next one. So we have some really nicely concentrated antifreeze in our jug. We cannot forget to do the P-trap or the Sani sump inside the shower. You might not be able to see this due to camera angles, but you're just gonna dump a little bit down. So this boat, freshwater windshield washers, we're gonna do those now. Helpful to have somebody else hit the button for you. Just want to make sure you get some really good pink antifreeze coming through there. Looks good to me. Perfect. So we done the second head. This has a freshwater anchor washdown. If you have an RV, maybe you have a freshwater washdown that you'd want to address. Same procedure. We actually did this one ahead of time. You have your antifreeze coming through, nice and strong. Again, I suggest at least a full 2 Mississippi of concentrated antifreeze coming out. This way you know you got everything out. If there's an air gap, that air gap is diluted. All right, guys, so we finished winterizing the freshwater system on this boat. Again, check your manual, check your plumbing schematic. Every boat or RV is going to be a little bit different. One thing we didn't talk about was actually doing a little bit of maintenance on the sanitation system. Might be a great time if you have Vacuflush to do your duckbill valves. The fall/winter is a little quieter. I'm proactive on preventative maintenance. Nobody wants the sanitation system to go down Memorial Day weekend when you're trying to relax with your friends and family. This boat here, the Ocean Alexander, a 45-footer, we use 10 gallons, so that'll give you a little bit of an idea on how much antifreeze you need to purchase. If you have any questions, our email is down below. If you need some maintenance product, duckbill valves, the 3-in-1 product, you can buy it off our website. We'll link everything down in the description. And we'll see you guys in the spring for a how-to video on summarizing your boat or RV and sanitizing the freshwater system. Thanks.